짠! Let's drink everything.
Okay. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Boys Love.
Hi.
Love in the Big City.
Whoa.
I'm Adam.
Okay. I'm RJ.
And welcome back. Well, it's over. We've done it.
We've done it. And here's the question. Is there love in the big city?
I think the definitive answer is yes.
Yes.
But it is a lot more complicated.
It's
and I also like that the big city is not just Seoul.
It's any city. It
It's
doesn't matter where.
And it's really, I bet the city doesn't really have to be big.
Be that big. No.
I bet there's love all around us, baby.
There's love in Topeka. There's love in Lubbock.
No, there's no love in Topeka. Topeka?
Yeah.
Lubbock? Texas?
Yeah.
What a pull.
Thank you. Okay, well, let's talk about this episode, Adam.
Oh, okay. We start the episode and we are in Bangkok.
Mm-hmm.
He has flown in under Mr. William Habibi's direction to go on this trip with him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wouldn't say on this trip with him, but meet him in Bangkok. Be a little lover.
They're not flat. I know. I guess I assumed that they would travel together.
No, that's not the gig.
That's not the gig.
He still doesn't know this man's name.
Yeah.
I mean, he does because he saw it, but
But the gig is show up and I mean, at first it was like, oh, it's giving kept boy, okay, slay. And then as the episode developed, it's like, oh, he just wants another living human kind of like with him.
it's just people reaching out for human connection.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like absolutely the most devastating
Absolutely.
kind of like
We're at this point where like, I just need to feel.
I'm reaching out for someone to cling on to.
Yeah. Boy,
So we started in Bangkok.
So beautiful,
He
happy.
checks into this hotel, and they remember him staying. The front desk person is like, "Welcome back."
Welcome back. We
And-
remember.
He has clearly stayed here before, so this is when we get our first flashback. This whole episode is going to be a series of flashbacks with Gyuho
Yes.
from their stay in Bangkok.
Yeah. And do we address this now?
I don't think so. I think we address it when we realize
it. Okay.
Because that's the only one-to-one
Yeah.
where something
That's true.
happens that is like...
That we've seen before, technically. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we
It's
get a-
just the flashbacks make us really think about what have we been watching? Whose point of view have we really been taking in? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
should we trust
Should
Jo
we
Young's
trust
narrative?
the point of view that has been given to us?
So the first flashback we get is him and Gyuho had stayed at this hotel, and Gyuho is like really sleepy from the plane ride because he drank a lot because it's free drinks.
Yeah.
I didn't, as someone who had never flown internationally before we went to Paris,
Honeymoon, yeah. That was a
I did
shock
not
to you.
know that drinks were free.
Yeah.
I did not know this. And so they were like, and let me tell you what, Air France, they're like, every
heavy
20
pour.
minutes, for wine, would you like wine? Any wine for you, sir? Wine? And I was like, well, yeah, first I was like, I'm on my honeymoon. Of course, I'll have a glass of wine. That's lovely. I'm thinking I must get out my card. Nope.
She's
I
like,
don't know if you know. Because I didn't know. Some of us had never flown internationally before.
in America, they will charge you for everything, Diva. Well, some will give you complimentary drinks and like a longer flight, but never
Yeah.
alcohol.
No, never alcohol.
Yeah.
So this is the fun of flying internationally if you're an adult and you drink. I actually don't even know if they card. They get to this hotel. Yuho wants to take a nap, and
Did you relate at this moment? Did you relate at this moment?
This is my sister. This is actually this is just me.
Yeah.
Go-young goes to close the drapes that are like automatic because it's a fancier hotel, and they don't close all the way.
Yeah.
There's this little bit with like this. He takes a picture of this building that's in their view, and it's like this
crystallized
penis ready for the runway.
Crystallized phallus ready for the runway. Yeah.
And they complain. They get upgraded to this like suite because of the drape problem, and they go look out on this gorgeous balcony. What hotel is? What was this? Did they? It's. You said you
they
saw.
They didn't say this one. See. Oh,
wasn't it on the Wasn't it on the papers?
Was it a Hyatt? I think it may have been a Hyatt, Park Hyatt, Bangkok, or something like that.
They look out onto this balcony and then they can't see the phallus, phallic building anymore. Yeah. This is memory number 1. And then what are we gleaning so far? At first, I thought I was like, "Oh, it's just dredging up memories." Because the last time he was in Bangkok was
totally. That he's like,
a year ago.
Yeah, he's remembering his last time here.
What did you notice about it? Did you notice anything?
No,
or were you just like sure?
Because I thought it was okay. It's like for like hotel for hotel because it was the exact same hotel. So of course he'll be thinking about it.
Yeah,
but I didn't think about. Like, oh, they're showing this because he's thinking about it. I assumed that, but it's not like we get a transition shot of him like checking in and then like looking and then like it flashes.
No,
back,
it's really cool how they do it because he checks in at the front desk and then the next shot is him and Yoo-ho coming into the hotel room. So there's not something that like spurs it other than just like he's there.
Yeah.
Which they give you in the setup. And
then at the end they got upgraded to this room, and then immediately after it's him coming back in because now it's the current time. He got in the same room again.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like shot for shot.
Yeah, but he's alone. So,
there's a little note from William Shakespeare Habibi. That's like, I have some stuff to do today, so I'll meet you for dinner.
Yes.
Have fun. Go enjoy the city. Yeah.
So he goes out. Go-young goes out. He like takes little cabs around. He goes to different places. But I think there's something to be said for traveling alone, which I think can be really fun.
Yeah.
If you are a person who's ready to be alone in that way.
Yeah.
Because this is the real thing about Go-young is that he is a person who likes
the way he likes things.
He likes things the way he likes things. Yeah. But he does not he's not like a stickler. He's not like, you know what I mean? Like he's not like a rigid person. Mm-hmm. Like he's very playful. And he's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But he is not a person who is like, oh, like I think there's people you meet where you go, oh, it makes sense that they are so independent. Yep. They are so like, I'm such a singular person and like I shirk all, like I don't need any of that, like blah blah blah. And he's still not that.
Yes. He's not like self-reliant. He's not like he can survive on his own if he was like trapped in the middle of wherever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So we get our second memory. Yeah. He walks by this like contact lens store
with a dancing mascot
in a mall.
Yeah.
And it flashes back that he's
going to the places.
He is purposefully going to the exact same places he went before. So he goes, it's like a memory of Yoo-ho getting these blue contact lenses because that's the only box they had of his prescription. I'm obsessed with the idea that you know what your prescription is. Does everybody know what their prescription is? I'm the only person on earth who has no idea.
I don't know. I have to like take a picture and be like, do you have this?
I'm surprised they would even sell it. I mean, I guess they can just sell it. They just have boxes of them,
yeah.
But like in America, you have to like prove... They're not just going to give you prescription.
That's true. You have to like have an RX.
Yeah. So,
but because our medical system, Adam, I don't know if you knew, but our medical system is different. Yes, it's a business. It's a scam.
Well, no way. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yes. Everywhere else, it's like, what do you need?
Well, somebody should do something about this.
In other countries, actually, you could go to a place and be like, "Hi, I need antiviral HIV drugs, and they
Well,
could
he
be
just
like,
goes
"Here you
straight to
go."
the. He just goes to the pharmacist.
Yeah,
It's
That's what I'm saying,
crazy.
yeah.
I will say that was like a shock. Not really. We didn't really do that in Korea, but we did that. Didn't we do? We
There
had
was
to
a-
get
in
something
the-
in,
it was
in
the-
France, right?
No, it was in Korea. It was at
yeah.
Incheon.
Oh, yes.
And I was like out of ibuprofen. I didn't bring any Advil with me. So I literally had to be like, what is ibuprofen in Korea? And there is no ibuprofen. It's the other one.
Acetaminophen.
No, what is it? It's like two. It's like Dubrofit. It was different. It was a different thing. But I asked Advil, and then he like showed like, this is kind of the same. And so I was like, okay, it's great. Baby, I nursed that bottle of blue pills all
Sure.
trip, even until we got back.
I would wonder. I mean, like, it's funny to me. I'm a very anxious traveler, as RJ can tell you.
No.
I would bring everything.
Everything.
I would bring contingencies of every single medication that I have, because I'm like convinced that inhalers don't exist anywhere else. Right? Like, I'm just so nervous about it.
Maybe I did have it, but I didn't. It was in the medicine bag or like my toiletries bag, so I didn't have it with me because I bought it at the airport.
It was
It was still in.
it was it was checked. It was
Yeah.
checked baggage.
So I think that's why I did it.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved going up to the little pharmacy man.
Because that was our 28-hour day.
Yes.
I think I could do domestic travel alone. I don't. I could probably do it, and I would probably have a fine time. But
Yeah.
there is like this. I wouldn't be able to do this,
Right.
Which is like the thing that I enjoy most about traveling is like, oh my god, getting to talk about
What we
all the
did.
things we
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
experienced,
Yeah.
and like, I'm very much a person who has to like do the. This is gonna shock a lot of people who watch this channel, but I like to analyze everything, and so I take enjoyment of like thinking about it and like putting it into perspective and like blah 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 blah. All
Yeah.
the things that like I say there are people who go on vacation. There are people who travel. And vacation, I'm not a vacationer. I'm a traveler. I'm not trying to sound pretentious when I say that, to be clear. I just mean that like I can't ever turn my brain off.
Right.
So I don't like going to the beach and just laying on the beach does absolutely nothing for me. First of all, I don't like beaches.
Yes.
I'm going to start there. I don't like sand. I don't like
little guys, little friends.
I don't like little things in the water, little things in the sand. I don't like
Burning.
that I'm always getting I always burn
Yeah.
at a beach. I don't like the heat. But I'm fine with like it being hot, but there's something about it that's like, oh, the only thing I can do is I can like go into the water, or I have to like leave the beach and then go somewhere
Somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah.
there's no like real respite.
Yeah.
I feel like
there's no rest.
by being dry, you have to like go in the I'm not a beach person.
Okay.
I can do like
Jesus.
I could do like a hike. Like I like a little mountain moment. But even then it's less that it's like the physical activity is like, oh, I'm like
I like
seeing
walking and seeing.
and like
yeah.
seeing and like discovering, and oh my god, if there's little maps on the way, or there's little
yeah.
like, here's the history of like this
Yeah.
geological feature.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my god.
Well, Adam will
So then
read it. Adam will fully read it. And then I will be right next to him and be like, so this is actually...
And then I re-explain it to him.
re-explain it.
Because that's how I lock it in my brain.
Yeah.
You know what?
You know what? That's
Could you
nice, dear.
go? Could you go travel internationally and be fine on your own, RJ?
Yes. Because even when we did, I mean, North America, I feel like is pretty
Oh, super easy.
super easy,
Yeah,
right? Because when I went to Mexico City by myself to meet up with friends, like, yeah, it was fine.
I think I could do that pretty easily. I
Right.
think I could do like the plane and getting to place
to
to
where
place.
you need to go to be with
Right.
other people.
I don't know if I could do. I could maybe do like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
But I think at some point I would be like,
I
I'm
need
just
to talk to
traveling
someone.
alone.
Yeah, I know. I need to like. not even share the experience with someone, but just someone to be here.
And especially if you go to a country that is a foreign language country.
Yeah.
It would be way harder to be like, just have a connect. It's about connection.
It's about connection, Dorothy.
It's about connection. So he gets these blue contact lenses. It's very funny. It's very goofy. We are now in a pattern of things don't go
as planned.
But it's fine. But
they're not.
Everything's working out.
Yeah. They're still having fun. It's still experiencing a trip.
Yes. We get a scene where they go, right, like you said, they go to a pharmacy and he gets antiviral HIV medication while Gyu-ho is like looking at a box of condoms. Then they go to this restaurant.
And it is
the Condoms and Cabbages restaurant, which 100% has to be real.
Yeah.
Has to be a real restaurant in Bangkok. Freddie?
Let us know.
Go take pictures.
Freddie listens to the podcast.
Oh.
They don't watch the YouTube. Freddie, can you let us know? Can you make a TikTok?
And this restaurant is crazy.
There's like sculptures and lanterns and straws, and they're all made with condoms.
Everything's condoms.
And the voiceover is that Gyu-ho does not...
He withers.
That's the word. He withers with a condom. So that's kind of like been a main reason why they haven't been having sex.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he gets the drug and like pays for it, Gyu-ho is thinking about getting condoms, and then he puts it back when Go-young buys the drug. Okay.
Present day.
Uh-huh.
Goes to drinks with William Habibi.
William Habibi appears. They go out, yes.
Yeah. They go to see fireworks allegedly,
he's
but
like,
I never see
the
these
greatest fireworks ever, blah, blah, blah. They go to a rooftop bar. It feels like it's just the hotel rooftop bar.
Or something. Yeah.
And Go-young orders every drink on the menu.
I actually didn't know you could do this.
I mean, I guess you can order anything.
I feel like in America, they would not let you do this.
Yeah. There's like a 2-drink limit. Well, if they follow, what is it? The green, yellow, red.
Piece? Oh, yeah.
I forgot what that was called. Safe serve or something?
Whatever.
Whatever.
They won't do this in Vegas, I feel like.
Yeah.
Vegas, you could probably order every drink on a menu. They drink all these drinks. They get drunk. They go back. They end that night together, okay? Or whatever. Go-young is very flirty. They're speaking in English the whole time. I'm still like unclear about this William Habibi. Like this, it still to me feels tonally so different from the rest of the show. It feels like a fever dream.
This was when truly our tinfoil hat started going off.
Well, this is because this is when we get the rainy boat.
Mm-hmm.
So we get another flashback. It's the rainy boat
that happens
in episode 6.
Yep.
The rainy boat happened, and I was like, "Oh, it happened again on their trip. It happened multiple times."
Yeah. But then you're like, "Oh, they're wearing the same thing that day."
I didn't even clock that they were wearing the same thing. So the rainy boat happens.
It's different than what we saw from episode 6. It's the same thing that happens, but there's like less people in the boat.
And Gyu-ho is like, I thought you said it was dry season. He was like, it's late
rainy season,
and which means
Gyu-ho says, "Oh, I just assumed that meant it's done raining."
Yeah. And then he's like, that must be why it was so cheap to come here. So it rains.
They dock.
I did not clock. I felt like also we watch these things like kind of weekly as well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we had just watched episode 6. So I was like, oh, this feels like reminiscent, but maybe it's not the exact same. And the conversation I knew wasn't the exact same.
Yes.
So then I was like,
there was conversation.
It just happened a second time.
It was just like in the first time we see the rains, it was just part of a montage of what they were doing.
It's silent. There's no conversation.
Yeah.
And then we end up on the street where they're running around in the rain.
Yeah.
And Gyu-ho lays on the ground. And
they're
Go-young
like yelling at each. Well, they're bickering, right?
Mm-hmm. Go-young like gets annoyed and is like, get off the street, blah, 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 blah. Gyu-ho pulls him down. And then they lay next to each other looking up at the sky. And this is when I was like, this is the same. This didn't happen like this before.
Yeah.
This is a different scene.
This is a different scene, but the same event.
The same event, right? Like the same.
These two scenes.
They lay down in the street. Because at first I was like, when Yoo-ho laid down, there was almost like a level that I was like, oh, does Go-young actually walk away? Like he doesn't do this?
Right, yeah.
But then he does. Like he does. They do the physical things together. But then
it's a completely different.
The tone is
dialogue,
so weird.
Tone. It's darker.
The shots
it's
are
sadder.
weird. Yes.
Yes. But okay, so this is the tinfoil moment that we had because we were like, so what we saw in episode 6, we went on vacation and it was like
great.
everything was fine. Everything was great.
And then we came back and everything went back to shit.
Yes, yeah. So we were like, okay, so he is choosing to remember just the good parts from episode 6, and that's what was shown to us.
Well, first, that's what I believed, and you thought this was the lie.
I thought it was flipped. I thought because now we've explored that, like, he may have depression.
Yeah. Oh, sure. We're not gonna diagnose.
We're not diagnosed,
but
that's what they've been showing us.
Yeah.
That I'm like, well, is this now what he is remembering, but it's all the bad parts because he can't remember the good parts anymore. But at the end of the day, because he shows 2 different accounts of the same events,
yes,
we were like, he is an unreliable.
He's an unreliable narrator.
We don't know what the truth is now.
We don't even know what the truth is about the beginning of their relationship when you think about it. Like, he has Yoo-ho to him. First of all, Yoo-ho is obviously the one that got away.
Yes.
And
Yoo-ho is yeah.
I think it has gone from him. I don't want to say he blamed Yoo-ho last year with that whole situation, but I think he was like, well, Yoo-ho is like upset with me and blah, blah, blah. Whereas now I think he is able to more clearly look at the past and be like, I think I fucked it up.
Yeah.
I think I ruined
that has
it.
what it's all been these past 2 episodes. I feel like this pair of episodes, because every kind of mini arc has been pairs, right? And we were like, what is the 7 and 8 going to be? Because there's no more man.
Right. And especially because 7 ended and it was like, this doesn't feel like I feel like the other odd numbered episodes, while yes, clearly we're leading to a something in the second half of the pair, there was like a finality to each odd numbered episodes that was like very nice.
Yes.
And I know that usually the penultimate episode of a BL or like any
Leads
drama
into the
really
finale.
leads into the finale. Like it has to end in conflict. But there was something about the way episode 7 ended that I was like, this is tonally, it's
different.
The show feels weird now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like it's the realization, Go-young is realizing that he is the reason why it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like though we don't get any flashbacks in episode 7,
right?
He kept waiting and hoping for moments that it would just magically come back. Like Yoo-ho is Q, or like he'll happen to like see him again. And this episode is so clear, like, oh, I am like reliving all of those moments and realizing that I was the one, which made me think about when we get to the friends later. Because remember at the episode 7, I was like, it feels like the friendship isn't growing. Like they all feel the same.
Yeah, this is huge.
This episode, I was like, oh, it's him.
Yeah.
He has put that there to not feel like he is growing with his friends.
He so we when we watched it, we went back and rewatched the episode 6 boat and rain scene
moment, yes.
Because it is, I just genuinely, if you have the ability, if you didn't when you originally watched it, just go compare those two. It's fully night and day. Like the episode 6 version is so romantic. I think I remember crying when it happened. Because it was so bright. This is the moment when he pulls him down. He asks Yoo-ho,
what do you really think about Kylie?
When you found out about Kylie, what did you think? And he was like, it's fine. I don't care. And in this, it's weird because this leads to them having sex without a condom for the first time in like ages. And obviously the last time they ever did it.
Yeah. But the thing is, they are in both accounts of the events, they have said exactly different things, which makes me think that like maybe it's not imagined. Maybe all of these things were real, but how he's compartmentalizing it, the good parts were just the good parts of the conversation.
Yeah.
And like the not bad, but just not pretty to remember.
Yes.
Like the ugly parts about
Well,
it.
and like then you have to acknowledge the fact that he's a character that's literally a storyteller. He's an author. He's creating this love stories that are based on his own life.
Yeah. And that's when we were like, Adam was
That was when our tinfoil hats got real wild.
Because we were like, oh, if this is adaptation tea, he's really literally crafting the story that he wants us to walk through, not the actual truth. And this episode is when the facade fully crumbles. And then we fully were like, William Habibi isn't a real person. He's
a
his
character.
And he's actually in Bangkok alone.
I mean,
and just
then
like
we were spiraling.
Well, then we ended up spiraling.
I mean, bitch, if that would have happened, I would have
happened.
gagged.
I would have been like, I don't know why the fuck people are upset about this show, because this is brilliance.
I mean, I think it is really smart, and I think it's really intentional, and really shows. It's a great way to show Go-young's like kind of like. I don't think he's like a bad character, but I think he's so complicated and so confused and so like he misunderstands what the point of it all is.
Yeah.
And he hasn't ever, I don't want to say grown up, because there are aspects to him that do feel really adult, but
he's been
like
able to avoid it.
Yeah.
He's been able to avoid having to deal with it.
So that's that scene.
Yeah.
Then we go directly to the hotel room within the present day.
After drinks.
With Go-young and William Habibi. They don't talk to each other.
They don't talk to each other. They're just laying.
They don't have like, it's not like, oh, now we're going to go fuck.
No.
It's very weird.
They're just sitting.
William
in a dark living room.
Like leaves the living room and turns on the shower, and then you hear something fall.
Yeah.
Go-young goes in, and there is... Okay, I have to describe this because I feel like I didn't even understand this one was happening.
The voiceover about what is happening is William Habibi.
Oh, yeah, we've transitioned now.
The voiceover is William Habibi talking about, like... It was, like, the accounts of what this happened. That I was like, oh, he's talking about it. Like remembering what happened. He was like,
it's so crazy.
That was he was along the lines of like, it was the last thing that I remember. I was stuck in the hotel for a couple of days. Just
I don't
like
even
that.
know.
It was like,
I don't even know who he was saying this to.
Exactly.
It's so strange.
It was so strange. And then we hear it. He goes over to the bathroom. He like basically, I think he falls, but he's sitting on the floor of the shower. The shower is running. He's in there fully clothed. His cell phone is there.
Well, there's a razor on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, so that's when at first I was like, oh, he slid it. Like I was really
wrist.
like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
I don't think that's what happened, but I think it's supposed to be that he's thinking about it.
Definitely.
He's in the shower. Go-young looks at his phone, and on his phone, what's translated for us is like, I think conversations with
the wife texting him. The screen, the desk, the phone screen is him, his wife, and their daughter.
Yeah.
And then the texts that are translated to us are like, please respond, blah, blah, blah. This may be the last time you talk to us or to your daughter. Like, you don't have to be alone tonight, basically. And that's when we fully stopped. We like paused and like sat in silence, I think, for like 3 minutes.
It's just so incredibly dark. And this is like, they're just clinging out to whoever they can make a connection with.
Exactly.
Because like, I guess this whole time, the brilliance is like, William Habibi is a character that still feels completely anonymous when you're watching the show. Like, he barely has any lines. They don't even show them being intimate, although obviously they had been.
Yeah.
There would be no reason to invite someone to Bangkok if you hadn't right? Like that.
Yeah.
Obviously that's what happened, but it's very pointedly, they didn't show any of that because like the show doesn't want you to know too much about William Habibi.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with saying his full name, by the way. So when we get this, I mean, obviously I don't even know if it's hard. I don't think it was sad because it was like so heavy.
Right.
But we don't know anything about him. So there is a level of like, it just kind of reinforces this idea that like Go Young is fully like lost. Because this all comes back to like Go Young, like kind of like sabotaging his own life.
Right.
And like not, I don't want to say taking accountability, but like just not not growing, like not doing anything about any of it.
This does feel like
he feels like he's stuck, and then he just keeps being like, "Well, this is just
stuck.
the way I am, so I'm stuck." What do you want me to do?
And it's not like he's blaming things. I think he used to.
Yeah.
But now that there's nothing else to blame. He doesn't have Gyuho to blame.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have this job to blame anymore. He doesn't have his mother to blame anymore.
Yeah.
There is no one left to blame but yourself. That's when it's kind of all crashing down of like, oh yeah, everything was my doing. And especially even showing someone like William Habibi who, you know, he buys all the drinks. He's been able to like be very lavish, and he even says something like, yeah, you can do so much with money. And
I didn't know you could make like a lot of money could make people happy or something like that. Which like, wake up. But okay.
Eat the damn rich if they don't even know that's possible. My God.
What's the point of having the money if you don't know what's going to be? So that's when we flash back. Now we go back to
they go into like a rinky-dink place because they got caught in the rain, basically.
They got caught in the rain. They have sex. They rent this little like, it's called like a guest house. It's basically like, it's just
extended
a place to have sex.
Basically.
And then they go back after. I think this is like the sweetest part of the episode.
Yes.
And the part that feels the most, I mean, I guess the whole episode feels really truthful.
It just feels, it's complicated.
I think like the after the sex, I think is like the most, this and the scene in the club, probably this feels like the most intimate scene we get between Gyuho and Go Young. Of just like, Gyuho, they both, this is what I want to like reinforce. They both love each other.
I know.
And it's so glaringly obvious. And I think the way the show frames all these shots of them and like has their little dialogue and like everything, it's like everything they do, they're like, they find each other so fun. They have such like, they have a lot of fun together. But then Go Young will like
get mad about the smallest thing. Get irritated by the smallest thing.
And it's weird because I don't think he's a person who like expects things to be perfect.
No.
But it also doesn't.
But
it doesn't
everything
feel
bothers
untrue.
him.
Yes,
Yeah.
Everything is like just frustrating enough that it's not. I don't know. Just so, I guess.
Yeah. Because even the small things of like Yuho picking stuff up and he's like, put that down, that's dirty. What was the thing when they were in the like overpass walking and he was and started laughing at him because he was like, I can't believe you didn't know that or think that. Like stuff like that where it's like, you didn't know. Oh, when he was like, Gyuho said, I want to go to the beach. And he's like, we're in Bangkok, we're inland. The beach isn't near. Mm-hmm. And Gyuho was like, oh, I just assumed because we're in Thailand, we're close to the water.
It's always close to the water, yeah.
And Gyuho like kind of, and Go Young kind of makes fun of him for that. And like,
because he's like, you were a boy born in Jeju. You always wanted to come inland. And now all of a sudden you want to go to the beach. Ha ha ha. But like Gyuho he does find that funny.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to explain it. It is weird because the show is really good in being really complicated in that Go Young, I think there is not a specific thing I can point to and be like, that's the thing.
The reason why.
It really feels like it's a really good job at setting up like, oh, it's all the little straws that finally one broke the camel's back, right? Like it's all these tiny little things that keep piling up and make it just makes him resent him so much, even though you have no good reason. And it's all because you're uncomfortable with yourself and what
you're putting on him, what you're expecting him to be.
Yeah. Because he even says like, he has the thing about where he's like Gyuho never complained about Kylie and like never said anything about it. And he always was like, I wish it almost feels like Go-young wished Gyu-ho would just be like, I
don't want to be with you anymore because of Kylie. It's the reason why.
Oh.
Because the thing is like,
because I think there is some part of it that like he has a lot of shame about it.
Absolutely.
And that's why he obviously had to fully compartmentalize it.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the heartbreaking thing. I mean, they need to get Dan Savage on these two because like there is just like.
Well, that's a very old reference. You just aged yourself.
Dr. Ruth. Oh,
sure,
even older.
Yeah. Great.
But there is just there is this thing of, sexual shame I think he feels. The fact that Gyu-ho can't, quote unquote, have sex with a condom on, and it's like, that's the only way we can have sex.
Right. And I did wonder if there was like, there's very specifically like, do they just not sell this medication in Korea? Like I had that.
Yeah.
That wonder.
I wonder if it's because it's conservative, you know?
Yeah.
But it's that thing of like only valuing yourself because of that, right? Because knowing that you can't do it, then it feels like, well, I can't be a gay man.
Yeah.
Almost. It's like, it's so sad. That's why like the scene after they have sex, it feels like it's the last time. I mean, right? But it feels like it's the last time you guys are.
It feels very final.
Yeah.
Like it feels like the end of their relationship.
Right.
And I understand that, yes, it's the last time and he says it's just the last time they had sex without a condom. Like obviously they had sex past that. Like they were together for quite some time after this trip. But there is something in the way, I don't know, I can't even like put a finger on it.
Yeah.
But it feels like this is the end. I also think that's the show kind of wrapping up and being like,
right, choosing to show that moment.
It's the end, girl.
Yeah.
They go to the club. This was my favorite part of this episode.
Because we saw this also in episode 6, right? In a
they just make out in the club.
They just make out, yeah. No, they're holding each other, dancing. They're just dancing.
Oh, yes.
Slow dancing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just slow dancing.
The other thing that they didn't show at all is the bathtub.
The bathtub.
Which, so now I don't even know if that happened.
Maybe it's just them sleeping, because I think they just slept all night.
Yeah. So they go to the club, and they're dancing or whatever.
They're dancing, they're drinking, they're kissing. Like it's a little bit more like, oh, you guys are at a club.
Yeah.
As opposed to the really sweet scene that we saw in episode 6.
But it felt that felt so BL, or it just felt so like romantic of being like, it's just the two of them, even though they're surrounded by all these people.
But this scene makes it look like that's how the night ended, is them slow dancing in the middle of this like crazy club.
Right.
But in this, they're kissing, and then like Go-young basically just starts crying on Gyu-ho and asks, what if we just start fighting again when we go back? Oh, and he's trying to say it while the music is happening. So Gyu-ho's like, what? And he's like, what if we just go back to fighting? And then Gyu-ho says, then we'll make up. And then Go-young says, but what if we start fighting after that? And he says, well, then we'll just make up. And they just keep repeating this over and over again until it's like absurd and funny. And they start like yelling it to each other and shouting and dancing. But it's that that's the thing. He knows that's what life is. He just has not been able to accept it these past couple of episodes.
I can't tell if he's like, known. I can't accept it, or like he doesn't believe that Gyu-ho actually can. He doesn't believe Gyu-ho when he says it, that we're just gonna make or
up.
Just like he doesn't even. I don't know if he knows if he can make up that many. I think it is the arguing does put a lot of mental stress on Go-young, but he is like not realizing that he is doing it to himself. Like he's the one, I feel like, a lot of the times that starts these like arguments.
Yeah. Yes, it's all on Gyuho to actually make up.
And he always does. Mm-hmm. And he always... I think the actor... I really should have looked at the name of the actor who plays Gyuho. But he does such a good job of like... He never takes it personally. And he knows that's Go-young's thing.
Yeah.
And he kind of always just like laughs it off.
Yeah.
And it never, you can tell it doesn't affect him. And maybe it does in like an interiority of a character who we aren't following in the story. But like, I think this actor does such a good job of like being like, because if you played it any differently than this, you would, as the audience, you would be like, oh no, it's good that Gyuho got away.
Totally.
And there isn't I think objectively I can be like, it's probably for the best that Gyuho got away. But like, you still, as the audience, I think you're supposed to like be like, oh, I wish Go-young had been able to see how good he had it with Gyuho.
If he said that he would wait for him, do you think that would have? Do you think that would have been better? I mean, in the long run, maybe, because they would still be together.
Yeah.
But I truly don't know if Go-young would have been strong enough to actually do that. I think by being physically alone again after he left, I don't think he would have been strong enough to be like, yeah.
I'm going to drink. I'm so sad right now.
Was this fun? Was this a fun show?
Leaves William Habibi.
He leaves William Habibi. He leaves him a note.
Yeah.
Basically saying that I need to give.
I gotta go.
He basically says I need to give like love another shot.
Yeah.
In like ways
This
of like
this wasn't
like,
us loving each other.
Yes. It's like I need to do this for me.
I don't think this is the life for Go-young. Is to be able to just... I think like Go-young knows about himself, he has too much love to give.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know how to funnel it. He doesn't know how to channel it. He doesn't know how to harness it in the like way that is beneficial to all parties.
Right.
He goes back to Seoul. He moves out of his apartment.
Moves out of his apartment and Unsu helps him move out.
He moves into this new place, wherever, who cares? It's very modern.
Yeah.
And
they grill on the rooftops.
The end of the episode is they grill on the rooftop. There are fireworks happening. We find out in the scene that Unsu is single. They're all single.
They're all single.
So Unsu did not get married. So I want to point this out because I think I think we got a comment that I really was like, oh, I think they're right. So last week when we watched episode 7, we had this long conversation about being like, I think
feel like
Unsu like is maybe confused about like his changing identity and right? Like,
and you were saying that like it was very Meg. It was very Meg, Little Woman of like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite character. Oh, that's a boys. Okay. I took the Unsu storyline very differently. During the proposal, he looks so hesitant to give an answer, but the other two friends keep chanting, say yes.
Yeah.
Unsu turns to Go-young, who's silent, and there's a moment of them just staring at each other, and to me, it read as Unsu wanting support to not go through with it. But Go-young gets peer pressured by others to join in with them, and that's when Unsu turns around and agrees to the proposal. Next morning, Go-young says, how does it feel? Unsu says, you were there. How did it look like it felt? Again, to me, it was both of them acknowledging the true feelings, but neither of them were willing to say it straight like it is.
Yeah.
Straight!
Kind of row.
So with this in mind, with the end of the episode, I think they're right.
They think they're right. Unsu did call off the wedding.
Yeah.
The wedding is off.
The wedding is off. And they're all right where they started the show.
Right, all where they started the show. So, okay, this is when I was like, oh, I think it's Yoonsu realizing. I do think the whole Unsu, him realizing he's not the main character, I think that's all there. I really think that was something that the character, even though it may not have been explicit in the script, it definitely is something that we take away from him having to fulfill a supportive friend role for the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really think the friendship may be just something that he hadn't given itself its due to grow as something to kind of keep him.
Yeah.
Because this scene at the end is like, oh, this is why they're friends. They kind of need each other to get through the really shitty parts of life. Even if it's not, even in just the most like mundane things, like having to like go through the military or, you know, boyfriends and stuff. But still don't know about Kylie.
Yeah, no, I don't think I genuinely do not think they ever will. Because I think Go-young has not actually ever really come to terms with it. Yeah. I think that's the point of him naming it Kylie, is like being able to just put it in a box and put it away. And of course he has to like live with it and deal with it, but it doesn't actually, it's just your secret.
Yeah.
That you're hiding from your alleged friends. I do think it's interesting that it does the end of the show, the last 2 episodes, like tier the friendships kind of.
Right.
Like it does feel like Unsu is
the closest
closest friend.
Totally. But I do think that I don't know if that's been there from the very beginning, but at least in the show wise, because of the wedding, of the proposal, that kind of broke the barrier for them of like, oh, we're like similar in how we feel about life.
Yeah.
That I think has made them connect a little closer.
Yeah. But then also like it's so funny to end the show and be like, they're like what, 28?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you guys are fine. I don't know. I mean, like, it's very hard.
Yes.
I understand.
But you guys have each
I'm saying
other.
this from a place of privileges. I've been married for 5 years. But
they'll be fine. They'll have each other.
it's sad though.
The end of the show is another memory. It's the final memory.
The end of the show is another memory. Oh, yes.
Yes. Of Go-young and Gyuho writing one of those like paper lanterns where they write a wish and then they let it.
Oh my God, I almost forgot this scene.
And then they set it on fire so that it lifts. But what they wrote burned. And so it like falls down and everyone's like, oh no, your wish, blah, 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 blah. And then on the voiceover and the flashback, you see
Go-young gets like upset. He's upset about it.
Yeah, in one of these frustrated bickering moments again, right? Where it's like the smallest
like things don't go.
Yes. And in the voiceover, he says that he really struggled what to write down on his wish. And at the end, he ended up just writing Gyuho's name.
I will say genuinely, if I didn't know how to read Hangul, this moment would not have hit as hard as it did.
Right. But because
I saw him writing it, and I was like, no.
I know. Because you knew. I know.
I think this is I think for any actor, especially in this where he's doing the whole thing and not just like what the movie did, which is like the first story, basically. This is like a very hard task.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are 100 different ways that Go-young could be the most unlikable person in the room. And I think Nam Yoon-soo, I'm jumping clearly right to my MVP.
Yeah. Nam Yoon-soo.
I think it's incredible that he's able to thread this needle so effortlessly. Because even at points where I was like, oh my God, Go-young, you gotta stop. You're killing me.
I know.
You're killing me, Smalls. I still am like rooting for him every second of the way. I'm still rooting for him to figure out, because I know he is a character that deserves to receive love. And he did receive love. But he doesn't believe that he can.
He didn't believe it.
Which goes back to that shot from the first episode where they're laying in the bed and it's the shot of him from above.
Yes.
I think this is like one of the best performances I've ever seen.
I know.
I think it's so the way he can vacillate between the like
You hate him, you love him.
The silly he's really good
and
about
yes, the tone too. Yeah,
and like you can tell when he's doing like he's goofing around, but sometimes it's like because he's goofing around, and sometimes it's like he's goofing around for the face of goofing around. For the face
of it, and then he'll goof around to kind of convince himself that like, oh, this is fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Like when he quit his job, he shouts, "Yes, I finally did it," alone in his apartment with the lights off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And I think if a different actor played Go-young, we would have a completely different take on Go-young.
Totally.
And the story, I think, would have developed differently. Because it's Nam Yoon-soo who has this, like, infectious smile.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the double dimple smile is, like, immediately you're, thrown off by it. Because it's like, ooh, like, he like, made me kind of, like, be...
and he has such like I think a lot of the time too, like author characters, writer characters are written as so like introspective and so
they're
like
always reflecting
moody
things,
and like whatever. And he's so vibrant.
I know.
He's so full of life, and it's why it's like more heartbreaking that he is building his own wall.
I know. Because it's like, you know better. You have the skill to like look back, like take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Like if you're able to do that in your own relationships, but truly can't do it for himself.
Yeah. I do. Who's your favorite before I finish my?
I mean Yoonsu, obviously.
Yeah. You can say Yoonsu too. It's fine.
Yeah. This show would not be,
no, there's no way.
There's no way this show would be
completely
what
different.
It was without him.
And maybe it would still be good, but it would be a very different show if it was a different actor. 100%.
I mean, I really think he is the reason why the show has such a great handle on being able to show the good parts and the bad parts of life.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like, it's the overall thing is like, oh, it's life.
Yeah.
You can't write your way into the ending you want it to be.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like we should do The Matrix first because it's very obvious. Made for queers. Made for gay men.
Made for queers, yeah.
Made for gay men and character.
But I think accessible.
Accessible to all, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. But I do think it's touching on topics that most straight people would probably find at the very least uncomfortable.
Or just like can't really relate.
No, yeah, true.
Like it's like to them it's like, oh, he has diabetes. You know what I mean? Like it's
it's drink your juice, Shelby.
It's just like another like, oh, okay, so he has high blood pressure or something like that. But it's like,
or the other thing is like they obviously like everything, almost all HIV/AIDS storylines in media are like, and then they die. Because so it's very interesting that it's like,
because people assume it's like HIV is AIDS. You know what I mean? Right.
So now we're at the time where like people can live full lives, right? By having we've advanced. I mean, the miracle of modern medicine with what we've been able to do. I mean, yes, what happened with the AIDS epidemic in the 80s and 90s is like so horrifying. We lost generations of like brilliant, inspired artists, like brilliant people, right? And there's still not a handle on it globally to the way it should be.
Totally.
But like the fact that people, what 30 years ago was literally a like life or death sentence and is now something you can just like, you just take pills.
You take pills,
not only that, but you can have literally have raw, unprotected, raw.
Raw, next question.
Unprotected sex and like not transmit the virus. Yeah. I mean, like, it is insane to me to think about how far we have come.
Yeah.
It's imagine. So, but like, so now the question is, which I think is what the book is posing very interestingly, is like, okay, you have HIV and you don't die. Now what do you do? Because there's still a stigma.
Yeah, exactly.
There's still ways that you will feel weird about it. Like, I think that's the beauty of Gyuho's character, is that he doesn't care. Like, he thinks it's like, I think he does think it's like beautifully tragic, to quote Wicked, obviously, but like, he doesn't, it is not a reflection of, he does not see it as like, and he doesn't treat Go-young with like kid gloves. He's not taking care of an invalid, right? Like, he's just in a relationship with someone who has HIV.
But he is still, at the end of the day, just another adult. He's just as mature, or should be.
And it's Go-young who's like, but I'm the problem.
I'm the problem, Okay. The real question, I think, with
character driven.
Character driven. I think the real question is this tier list.
Oh my God.
Yes, that's how bad it is.
I almost don't want to put it in the tier. Because it's not a BL.
It's not a BL.
It's truly, and I don't mean that just because it doesn't end with a happy ending, because I think there are BLs that can end with not happy endings. However, this is not a BL.
It doesn't follow the
this
genre.
This is a
drama.
I don't even want to say coming of age story either.
Right.
Because he I think learns about himself kind of, but maybe in the last 2 minutes of the show, but like, it's just like it's like a series of self-discoveries.
Yeah.
And watching someone just navigate a life lived.
So there is a secret place next to the tier.
Yeah.
Where it's just like,
not BL.
Not BL. And it's right there.
Yeah. I mean, if we were to rank it, is that the light?
It's the fan.
It's the fan. If we were to rank it, I would probably put it in the top tier. Mm-hmm. Of like, I wish I could.
You want to scrub it and watch it again.
I want to scrub and watch it again. But I also know it's not an easy show to watch. I have cried harder at BLs though. Yeah. It is not that I cried
My school
way harder.
President.
It's are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, it's
almost put me in a grave. This did not do that. And I thought it was very interesting that people were like, oh, Adam won't make it through the show, because I just don't think it's incredibly sad. It's more just like, it's heartbreaking that he has put him, that he's done this to himself.
Yeah.
And does this to himself.
Yeah.
It's more just like, I want to be there for him.
Yeah.
But he's a fictional character, and thus I can't. Do you agree?
I do.
Is that where you'd put it?
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to watch, but my discoveries, my journey as I was watching it, of like who I'm rooting for, all the funny parts came out so funny because it is trying to use the humor to deal with how terrible life is sometimes.
Yeah. And I think like truly artistically presented.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that all the pairs of episodes really do feel like I'm watching an episodic thing, because like, looking back at it, it feels like what we're watching now is like light years different from like the Mie episodes or the Mom episodes.
I mean, he has grown up.
Totally.
But
What era was your favorite?
Was my favorite? Well, episode 5, I think, is the best episode.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think, and maybe it is because I have like a BL hat on, and so but
it's such a respite, right? After going through 4 episodes, he's finally gonna get it. He's finally gonna get love.
Yeah. And I think you could, like, I don't think people should do this. I don't think this is the artistic merit of the show, is that it ends there.
Yeah.
You could technically just end the show right there, and I think you could, like, get the whole story.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe not, because it does end with him telling him about... No, because he accepts him at the end of the episode.
I think
You could end it there. And I think it as a standalone episode is, like, truly beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's so well done. It's incredibly directed. They do those two have such warm chemistry that like, it's so sad that they're not a real I mean, it's brilliant to make them like almost like, I wish I had that with someone.
Yeah.
in India. But like you want that with your partner because like they display such like affection and love to each other that like that's what makes it heartbreaking is that it doesn't.
And the relationship is written so much as this is just a normal relationship. This could be anyone that you know.
Yeah.
You know?
There's nothing super special about either of them. Like they're just kind of two guys.
As much as it was painful to watch, I really loved the mom
episode.
The mom episodes.
The episode 4. 3 and 4.
4 specifically. Even though it was so heartbreaking to watch him go through all of that, the payoff at the end of being able to like still be at peace with like, I'm still willing to share days in my life to spend with my mom who is running out of time. I would much rather let things not go, but let things be where they are and I can move forward with it.
Yeah.
Because it's so, I mean, he basically gives his mom this amount of grace, but like can't to himself, which is kind of crazy thinking about later on, you know? Yeah. It was such a heartbreaking episode, but that was probably like my ultimate favorite.
Yeah. But I love the Mie episodes.
Oh, yeah. I'm really sad that she does it.
It makes sense that is what they'd spun off into a movie.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Like that portion of his life. Totally.
Because it feels like it just feels like its own story.
Totally.
So holistically.
And that's it, Adam.
That's it. We did it.
That is Love in the Big City.
On our Patreon?
On our Patreon. You are voting for the next show that we are recapping. Yeah. There's not much to say. You'll see all the choices. And
You'll see the choices.
You'll see the choices and you tell us what to do.
It'll drive me to drink.
Thanks, everyone. That is Boys Love, Boys Love.
Is it cute that I have to like drink a shot in 2 sips?
Like a little tea.
Because I have such like a little mouth. Such like a little skinny mouth where it's just like, ooh.
Okay. She's reaching your honor.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.